and put in those questions during the session. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to chair panel 14, cybersecurity is the key enabler in accelerating Malaysia's digital economy. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our moderator for this session, Victor Loh, Head of Cloud and Cybersecurity at MDEC. Victor is an experienced professional with more than 2 decades of information security and risk consulting experience, with a specialization in cyber threat intelligence frameworks across the South Asian region. At MDEC, Victor's key roles include driving cybersecurity as a catalyst for the digital economy and to promote collaboration and innovation within the cybersecurity ecosystem. Over to you, Victor.
Yes. Okay, good. Right, so can I invite all the panelists to be on the stage right now? Mr. Anand, Prof. Vinesh, and Puan Sharifah. Yeah, please. Maybe ladies in the middle then. Yeah. All right, so without further ado, I think is that this is one of the most rigid and interesting topic before lunch. So I urge that probably pay a bit of attention. Probably at the end of the session, you get a voucher for lunch, right? If not, then it's okay. I think is that the whole purpose of this session, I would like to make sure that everyone enjoy the session very much, because this topic is very, very rigid, but nevertheless is that it's very important for the digital economy, right? In the aspect of cybersecurity space, I think for the last 20 years, right, all of us are pretty much aware is that cybersecurity is an important element for any of the enterprises. But I think that lately, there has been a lot of learning that you learn from the news is that it's not only important for the enterprise, but it's important for the country growth and especially the digital economy, right? So today is that it's my honor to invite 3 of our most well-known specialists or panel in the space of cybersecurity. Probably have quick introductions of yourself for 1 minute, then we jump to the topics, right? Maybe start with Mr. Anand.
Hi everybody. I'm Anand. I basically manage the regional sales for F-Secure here across 7 countries in the region. And as many of you know, F-Secure has been in Malaysia for a while now.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sharifah Rashida. I'm from the National Cybersecurity Agency. I am in charge with the Chief Executive Office of NACSA to look into the coordination and implementations of cybersecurity strategy in Malaysia. Thank you.
Prof. Vinesh.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. My name is Vinesh. I'm currently the Chief Innovation and Enterprise Officer at Asia Pacific University. You would definitely know Asia Pacific University because you see them on all main roads and highways with a big billboard, yeah? We're a tech-based university. Yep. Happy to be on the board this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Vinesh and Puan Sharifah and Mr. Anand. Welcome. Right, so to jump into the topics, I think is that, as I mentioned earlier, is that 20 years ago, the conversations of cybersecurity is very much enterprise conversations, right? Today, in any of the country dialogues between country to country or within the ministry and within the governmental conversations, that cybersecurity is a very key topic, right? So maybe is that we'll ask the first questions to the government's agencies that coordinate all this conversation together. Probably NACSA is the agencies that are looking after all this coordination of cybersecurity matters. Puan Sharifah, you'll be able to share with the audience today is that, how do we understand cybersecurity from a national perspective, maybe?
Thank you, Victor. Let me start by just indicating that, as what Victor has mentioned, cybersecurity used to be an IT support issues. But now it's already elevated into a key fundamental of national security issues. One of the things that really indicated in our country that really moved the decisions that cybersecurity is no more an IT security issues and have shifted into national security issues when in 2004 at the United Nations in the first committee of disarmament actually indicated the development of a group of governmental expert group that says that any attacks to the critical infrastructure to a country can escalate it to the armed conflict. That was the discussions that actually established a group at the United Nations to speak about that. But at that moment, the shift of the world will look into the incidents of terrorism that was happening. until the attack to Estonia. I think that most of us have heard the attack of Estonia in 2007 actually indicated that that is the truth. Actually, it can happen. In 2004, at the United Nations, when the when the group was being established in Malaysia, a small nucleus group in National Security Council being established to look into this particular matter. And at that particular point of time, in 2004, the development of national cybersecurity policy at that particular point of time mostly was headed at that particular point of time, are looking into the protection of critical national information infrastructure. Fast forward, we have seen a lot of changes and more stakeholders come into the digital environment. The element of digital economy, where we are speaking today, where cybersecurity is not only national security issues, it is also in parallel a reflections of how a country define its progress and its development in terms of economic and social. Hence, at national level, in NACSA, in National Security Council, the government actually established an entity at the government level with a national security alignment, so that any incidences that can escalate at national security incidences can be looked into both ways, which is where the economic value is being retained, as well as the issue of national security and sovereignty being looked at. One thing that I would like to emphasize as well is, at NACSA, we actually acknowledge the multi-stakeholder in the management of cybersecurity. Secondly, national security also look into cybersecurity as a technical issue, the underlying layer of how you solve a cybersecurity issue. But it is not just stopped there. It is also a national economic value issue, national security issues. But to some extent, if any incidences that happen can be attributed to a state actor, it needs the element of country as a sovereign state to indicate that to the United Nations so it can be escalated properly. So this is what we have seen. But the truth is, as the technology evolves, there are so many actors. There are nation-state actors, there are criminals, there are also hacktivism. So all these people actually have an ecosystem of criminals on their own, and they actually very organized. Hence why, in terms of managing cybersecurity at the national level, as far as what the policymakers are seeing, that no government have all the answers. It needs to be a collaborative movement. It needs to be acknowledging the roles and responsibility of each other in the ecosystem of cybersecurity. Hence why one of the things that we really emphasize in our cybersecurity strategy, with the first pillar, which is an effective governance, where only an effective governance will allow more conversations, more collaborations to indicate the right legislations and regulatory framework that needs to be done, to indicate the right research and development that needs to be invested, to indicate the right capacity and capability building as well as awareness that need to be focused on, and last but not least, to indicate the right elements and how actually our country navigate the international collaboration in terms of us to get the benefit of securing our cybersecurity as a whole in terms of national security, as well as maximize the opportunity that we have in digital economy in terms of getting more and more investment and benefits. We'll stop there.
Speaking of investment, right, I think F-Secure as organizations that have already invested here in Malaysia, they are the pioneer in investing in Malaysia, choosing the locations, Malaysia as one of the largest office outside of Finland, right? And probably Mr. Anand is that, probably give us a bit of idea is that F-Secure as an organization for the last 20 years or 30 years, and the journey between that investment of Malaysia, where are you today and where are you heading to, maybe Mr. Anand?
Let me just sort of sum it up quickly. So F-Secure is a 34-year-old company. So we've been around, particularly in the cybersecurity space, for a long time now. Last year was very interesting for us because we decided to demerge companies into two entities. One is called F-Secure, the other one is called WithSecure. F-Secure as a company continues to concentrate on the consumer cybersecurity space, which is a B2B2C. That means end consumers benefit from the products that we have. The other thing on WithSecure is more on the enterprise side of things. So one of the things Pond was mentioning, security is very important, right, today. How do you sort of relate to security? From a security perspective, you're carrying supercomputers in your hands today. Most people think about it as phones, right? Cyber criminals don't need to come to your home to steal money. All they need is a password on your phone or access to your phone or to your digital bank account. Your banks are now in your phones. Everything that you do is digital. With COVID, we moved from an office environment to a home environment. In an office environment, you have protection. That means you have the experts in there, you have the cybersecurity guys, you have the IT guys to ensure that maximum security is available. What happens at home? Do you carry the same kind of security at home? Now, when you moved work home, your security was not there at all, right? Except for the device that was handed over to your company. Your children don't have any kind of security, your parents don't have any kind of security, or any family member. On an average, we see about 12 to 14 devices in a household, and none of them really have any kind of security at all. And cyber security, from a layman perspective, is changing. In fact, our chief risk officer, Mikko Hyppönen, was one of the first ones to report right as soon as the Ukraine war started. The attacks were coming on the cybersecurity side in a large way. Estonia is like a 2-hour boat ride from Finland or from Helsinki. So literally, you could actually see that as well. So from a company perspective, we are doubling down on investments here. Our CEO, with the new company, we've actually listed 2 companies now in the NASDAQ Helsinki. So we have created 2 gems in the company instead of just one. We're looking for more talent in the region. We continue to double down on investments in the region, build more capacity. I mean, from my perspective, we actually manage, based in Malaysia, our customers are based out of Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Singapore, Philippines, India, Hong Kong, just to name a few. So as you can see, this is our base, and this is where we want to grow.
Yeah, thank you, Anand, giving that confidence of Malaysia as the hub for Southeast Asia, even Asia Pacific, right? So I think is that, speaking about what Asia Pacific, then probably next question I have to address to Prof. Vinesh is that hearing from the demand of where the industry is moving, like the government investing a lot into cybersecurity matters, putting up policies, right? And Mr. Anand just mentioned is that we want to make sure that Malaysia is a hub into Asia Pacific business, right? So Prof. Vinesh is that maybe from the perspective of how different cybersecurity courses today, or universities that offering cybersecurity courses today, is that 10 years ago versus now and versus the next 5 years of 10 years down the road? Prof. Vinesh.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. You see, there is definitely a skills gap shortage in the industry. One good testament to that is every graduate that APU produces in the cybersecurity discipline has got 3 jobs waiting for them. So that's a testament to the shortage of skills gap in Malaysia. At APU, since we are a tech university, we pride on technology from the 1990s till today. I think we were the first university to actually offer a cybersecurity course. So we offer cybersecurity courses. Yeah, we've got 3 of them. The business information security, cybersecurity, and forensics. Yeah, this is basically the entire spectrum for the cybersecurity discipline. We have about 650 to 700 students, and every year we see a leap of easily 15 to 20% in this discipline alone. Having said that, we are also churning out graduates, the talents that are coming into the pipeline, going into the workforce. So it is very important for us to ensure that their entire journey on campus is sufficient in terms of skills and knowledge when they actually go into the job market. Another good testament of the demand is, and I think some of you will cry, because when I first heard that, I shed a tear, yeah, is that they are the highest paid individuals in the tech industry. So my highest graduate is 7,200 ringgit. Don't quote me, but I actually cried when I heard that because I reflected on my time when I first graduated many years ago, many years ago, and I said, bloody hell, you're actually getting this much, yeah? But good for you, yeah? It's a local company that is actually able to pay that much. So that's a testament again to the demand shortage, right? So what we do on campus is that we have these 3 programs. We've got more than 650 students. We ensure that they are exposed. And that is very important. We pride on industry being on campus. We've got 26 cybersecurity partners, all local companies. That is among the 800 over partners we have in Malaysia. Now, how many of you all know 26 cybersecurity companies? Victor, do you know 26 companies? Obviously you know because you are part of the bridging exercise. Yeah? So we partner with 26 companies, and some of them sit on our industry advisory panel. They advise us on curriculum content because that trendy and currency of the content is very important. We expose our students to the infrastructure that we have. We have, I would say, the #1 infrastructure for cybersecurity in Southeast Asia. Because after the borders opened, I was lucky enough to travel to Indonesia, Thailand, and Singapore. And if I want to benchmark against the NTUs and the NUSs, we are there or better, just for cybersecurity. Yeah, we have the cyber range and we have the security operations center. We like to thank MDEC for helping us bridge that, and those facilities sit within our cybersecurity talent zone. So if you want to produce talents, you must have the infrastructure beyond the curriculums, and we have the infrastructure. Our cyber range in partnership with Cyber Tests and in partnership with Cyber Intelligence. So one foreign French company, one local company, we were able to set up this infrastructure that allows them to sit in a cyber range. And curriculums have embedded the usage of the cyber range in the subjects that they take. We also have a security operations center, thanks to MDEC again for bridging. We partner Tech40, another prominent local cybersecurity company. We have set up the security operations center. So with a SOC and cyber range, we're the only ones in Malaysia that has the combination of both. Students man 50 hours in the SOC, the SOC, as a mandatory requirement before they graduate. Now, how many students do you think can actually go and sit and expose themselves to a SOC? Not many. Because an SOC is normally in a basement, hidden, it's like the Pentagon of any FI or any organization that has one, right? So we give them that exposure. Plus, they are manning it 50 hours. They man tier 1 attacks, which they solve, troubleshoot on their own. Tier 2, they raise the red flag, and it goes up to the SOC manager. Now, this is all exposure that happens on campus. The other thing is industry partnerships. We have professional certification programs that the students in year 2 and year 3 undertake. They qualify with these professional certifications, which is actually for industry. And we like to thank our partners for that. We have CompTIA, we have Rochester, I'm naming a few, that actually offer programs in certification. This is where you get exposure to denial of service, DOS, InfoSec, and all kinds of attacks, yeah? All the vectors, all the different scenario scenes that are prominent, but you only get to realize this when you go into the industry, but you're getting that exposure on campus. So the cybersecurity talent zone that we have also has other facilities inside. We have the IoT research center. So IoT plays a very important part in cybersecurity because of the connectivity that everything is based on the Internet of Everything. Yeah. So that is also important. We have a partner in Cisco where we have a networking academy where all the switching and all the routing exercises are done. People learn about networking because network security is very important in the industry, and that is the exposure that the students and the talents get. So 1:3 jobs. Can you imagine that? So definitely a shortage, very clear cut.
Yeah, I can echo to that statement to say that cybersecurity jobs is one of the highest paying jobs in the industry. Not only that, it's because of the shortage of talent today. You heard from Prof. Vinesh mentioning about 650 students in the campus. There's a statistics that we run before is that by 2024, we need 18,000 cybersecurity professionals in the country, just for Malaysia, supporting Malaysia businesses, and all the investment that coming into Malaysia, like from F-Secure and WaveSecure, right? So with that expect probably is that, I would like to throw these next questions to Puan Sharifah, right? as a government leading agencies that looking at this coordination of all these policy together is that how we want to make sure the success of connecting the business requirement that we hear from F-Secure, the talent requirement from Prof. Vinesh, and also is that the demand of the rest of the industry, because cybersecurity, as what we just learned today, is that this is just the beginning, right? With the cloud, with the 5G, with the new emerging tech that come into the picture, is that how the country can manage this requirement moving forward from the government's perspective.
Okay, Victor. One thing that I would like to pick up from what Anand mentioned as well as Prof mentioned is, Anand, you said about changing. So, yes, I totally agreed about that. Cybersecurity is about change. You need to accept change for cybersecurity, which one is changing of the mindset, second, changing of the culture. These two things can only happen if you have the right people. And Prof mentioned about the gaps that we are facing in terms of skills. We always talk about the solutions in cybersecurity where we talk about people, process, and technology. I will always say that the most fundamental things in terms of solving cybersecurity issues is people. People equals to skill. People will allow the right leadership to lead in terms of shaping how actually we want to articulate cybersecurity at national level. Cybersecurity is not about just putting security controls. Cybersecurity is also opportunities. At national level, one of the key things that government is in progress, as well as doing the best in terms of managing cybersecurity at national level, is bringing the most effective governance with the right collaborations. One thing that the government have done is by introducing the new directive number 26, National Cybersecurity Management, which replaced the directive number 24 that only confined to the protection of critical national information infrastructure. The new directive of number 26 indicate how actually government looks cybersecurity as a whole. There is a one committee that looks cybersecurity at strategic level, recognizing that cybersecurity is a national security issues, but it is as well as an economic issues that needs to be addressed too, where there are three committees under there. First, that look into cybercrime per se. Secondly, it looks into the protection of critical information infrastructure as well as national cyber crisis incidences. Thirdly, look into the most important things, which is cybersecurity awareness. So, in order for us to do that, it will be in line with the cybersecurity strategy that we have indicated. I know that the strategy actually being launched in 2020, but due to the COVID-19, there are a lot of things that the government needs to catch up. And one of the things that government is doing, apart from introducing the directive number 26, is to look on the study to introduce a specific cybersecurity act, where we are in the pipeline of doing that. The first report is being reviewed. It is planned to be tabled to the cabinet next year. This cybersecurity act is to see whether, one, our country need a specific act to address cybersecurity, just like some of the countries, or we need to look into the holistic legislation that we have in Malaysia to allow a country to protect our cybersecurity ecosystem as a whole without impeding national security, but also accelerate the economic value that cybersecurity brings in. So these are the two things that we really focus on. And lastly, the things that I think has been repeatedly announced about the awareness and educations. This is also one of the focus that government are looking at.
Thanks, Sharifa. I think is that that is actually a first-hand information you're hearing. Government is reviewing the cyber law, and then the idea behind it is because I think there's a lot of connecting laws between all the different ministry and agencies, right? So I think a review of a cyber law could be a very, very progressive matter forward, right? So if we can take one questions, maybe MC.
All right, let's just check whether we have any questions on Slido.
So if we can take one question, if no, then probably we ask the final questions. No questions.
So far, we have none.
Okay, good. Probably it's lunchtime, right? But I think that if we could sum up just one line information that that you want the audience to carry back, maybe is start with you, Mr. Anand.
I know we're holding you back between lunch and this discussion here, but it's a very important one, right? But the good thing about this session is the industry, the policymaker, as well as the education, all of that is together. And, you know, MDEC is doing a lot of these things to bring them together as well. To sum it up, what I would say is cybersecurity is an important change that all of us need to take care, even within our own self as well. Most times we think that the cybersecurity breach happens within us and we are kind of safe. But what we tend to forget is there's a lot of cybersecurity breaches that happen with large databases as well. So get yourself informed of these things. Check your own data that's there. Identity protection wise, protect yourself. There are some free tools also on our side that you can actually come and check as well. But be informed, stay curious, continue to ask questions, and of course, reach out to any one of us here for any other questions that you may have.
Sharifa?
I would say that cybersecurity is not a technological problem. And don't look cybersecurity as a problem. It is a big opportunity for individual, for enterprises, as well as for a country. So while we have technology will provide tools, but at the most important part is government. As government, we need to facilitate in improving the awareness and raising the culture of awareness in cyber hygiene. And also, we need to indicate and facilitate the ecosystem to have the right people in the cybersecurity environment with the right skills.
Pravinish?
Yeah, I continue to preach this industry on campus. I think the industry must play a part in the programs and curriculums developed at institutions. So for the sake of cybersecurity, which will always evolve, I think industry has to come to campus, be part of our journey. A very good example, I forgot to say this just now, is Cybersecurity Malaysia. They played a pivotal role in our latest development, Victor, which now we have now advanced our forensic center. We have a third place within the cybersecurity talent zone. We have actually evolved it, built an entire portal and cybersecurity management system, dedicated server, spy kits and all that. Now we can do malware detection on devices. And that is our next role, because we want actually our students and talents to start working on actual projects and do it as a service. And that's real life experience, yeah?
Yep. So as conclusion, I think is that cybersecurity is a subject of opportunities. Cybersecurity is a subject of where government need to coordinate all the efforts and energy together between the providers and the the ecosystem of talent, and make sure that these two works in a synonym manner, right? So I think with that, I would like to thank the panel for this afternoon, and it's lunchtime. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Victor and our panelists, Sharifah Rashida, Anand Renukanan, and Professor Dr. Vinesh. Thank you so much for all of your input into this very important topic of cybersecurity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before you head to lunch, please do send us some feedback on the session. We'd love to know what you thought about this topic and also what was discussed by our panelists. Before you leave, allow me to quickly summarize the session very quickly before we close the breakout room for the day. Malaysia takes cybersecurity seriously with the establishment of the National Cybersecurity Agency and the formulation of the National Cybersecurity Strategy to table a Cybersecurity Act next year. Now, only with industry input and effective governance can the right legislations be formulated to strengthen those laws. The shift to working from home has highlighted how data protection across fluid workspaces remains a vulnerable area to consider, and new ways of working will highlight how cybersecurity needs to evolve. Now, also highlighted was that there is a shortage for cybersecurity talents, with high demand of up to 20% for such skills, with the highest pay in the industry on offer. To produce such talents, the infrastructure to train them needs to be in place, which Malaysia has offered through MDEC. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity begins with you and me, protecting our own data. So it starts with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we've come to the end of our panel sessions in this room today, thereby bringing track 2 to a close. In today's session, we touched on how digital talent is in ready supply in Malaysia, but that our challenge will be on ensuring their skill sets match the industry requirements and that we can retain or attract back our digital talents from Malaysia. Number 2, how Malaysia is poised to be a game changer in the global data center industry with key advantages in its strategic location, natural resources, land, infrastructure, renewable energy, and a great digital talent pool. However, challenges that need to be addressed include power supply capacity, energy costs, and data protection. And finally, in our last session, how Malaysia takes cybersecurity seriously with the establishment of NACSA and the National Cybersecurity Strategy, but legislation needs to be put in place urgently, and more talent needs to be developed to manage the shortage. We hope you've enjoyed the discussions that the insights shared will give you plenty to consider and work on together as Malaysia Digital Week comes to a close this evening. Please join us now for our networking lunch outside this room at the foyer, ladies and gentlemen, before the main hall reopens for the remaining panel sessions today and our closing ceremony later. On behalf of MDEC, I'd like to thank you all for joining me in Breakout Room 2, and please do accept our sincere apologies for my voice and for any shortcomings on my end over the last 2 days. May you continue to enjoy the rest of the sessions and find them productive. Until next time, I'm Shani Iman Lee signing off. Selamat sejahtera and have a great day.